Welcome to a 22 News special honoring Black history. I'm Ciara Speller. Every February, we recognize the achievements of African Americans who have shaped history. Today, we're recognizing people who created jobs, built businesses, and are now paying it forward. Our youth don't care what we know until they know that we care. Words coach Stefan Davis lives by. The founder of a nonprofit organization in Springfield spends his days inspiring at-risk youth to find light after darkness and rise up in the face of adversity. He shared with us how his mission came to be.
It's easy to be in darkness, but there's always light after darkness.
For some of today's at-risk youth, it seems nearly impossible to find that light. Here in Western Massachusetts, Coach Stefan Davis has made it his mission to lend a helping hand in the greater Springfield area, an effort to deter our young people from becoming another statistic. And why he does it? Because he knows firsthand what it's like to feel like no one is there when you need them most. It's the driving factor behind his nonprofit organization. I found light against all odds.
It was many times in my life when I was physically and mentally abused by my stepfather. He said if I tell, I would never tell anything or anyone else anything again.
Because of that trauma, he's become a shoulder to lean on that so many youth need. Youth who have too experienced pain in their lives. Davis started his organization in 2016. Since its inception, his mission and team has grown to great lengths to assist troubled young people.
As a Black man, being able to share my past with these young men and women, from being in darkness and finding light in education and starting to believe in others to help me, gives me an opportunity to share with those youth.
Through various forms of fundraising, scholarship galas, golf tournaments, and holiday donations, among other things, I Found Light has provided thousands of dollars for hundreds of youth and their families in Western Massachusetts, and a fresh start at continuing their journey on the right path. It's this work that most recently led Davis to be awarded a $1,500 grant, his organization nominated by the community, one touched by their mission and message. And what's next for the organization? The Lighthouse Project. Davis said this safe place will provide homeless young girls with shelter and resources when they're in need. As we honor Black history, we're highlighting organizations that are focused on making positive changes in the community. Reporter Constance Jones shows us how the group Black Girls Run is advocating for Black women to make healthy living a priority.
Take it back.
Meet Jael Alexander. She's the CEO of Black Girls Run. Leading by example, she's now down 115 pounds. At her heaviest, she was 304 pounds.
Had a short bout with high blood pressure in my early 20s, and my doctor was like, hey, you're too young to go on blood pressure medication. Let's focus on your physical activity.
That's exactly what she did, running her first 10K a decade ago. She fell in love with running, but also noticed something was missing.
When I go out running, we don't see a lot of Black women that's out and healthy and active.
Take your knees up. That's how Black Girls Run was founded, on the premise of motivating women to take charge of their own health.
Touch the ground. We are taking care of our families, taking care of being caregivers, making sure that everybody else is taken care of before ourselves.
Today, the group has over 200,000 members in over 75 running groups across the country, like this group in Richmond, Virginia, led by Karen Anderson.
I started off because my blood pressure was elevated and I didn't want to take any medication. Right. We formed bonds and we actually looked forward to meeting.
Normally, the women would be preparing for an upcoming challenge, a marathon, half marathon, or 10K. But times are different now due to the pandemic. Clearly, running has not stopped, and neither has the sisterhood, a group committed to accountability and encouragement every step of the way. In Richmond, Virginia, Constance Jones reporting.
Bronze medallions are placed across cities in Rhode Island. How one man is looking to uncover the truth of slave history, one QR code at a time. You're watching Honoring Black History. Welcome back now. An innovative project is shining a light on the hidden history of Rhode Island. Slave medallions will be placed throughout the state, marking the role that each city played in the triangular slave trade. Chelsea Jones walks us through what each bronze plaque will represent, as slavery was the economic engine of the Ocean State.
The journey starts right here with a QR code on each medallion. It unlocks the history of Rhode Island and its use of slave labor. Patriots Park is home to the first QR-coded slave medallion. It's a symbol here in Portsmouth, honoring the land where the first United States integrated army fought in the Battle of Rhode Island.
And how they were used was like indentured servants.
Here's how the medallion works. You take your phone, open the camera, and then hover over the code. It will then take you to this website, revealing what each city's role was in slavery.
It was a necessity to have slaves.
Slaves were captured from their tribes in Africa, brought to our ports in Rhode Island, and then used in the process of creating rum, a big industry here back in the 1700s and 1800s.
We're trying to tell the unvarnished truth.
Charles Roberts, executive director of the Rhode Island Slave History Medallion, says without slaves, the Ocean State wouldn't exist as we know it. So now these medallions serve as a link to a painful past in hopes of a brighter future. Roberts says the next step is to make sure there is intergenerational knowledge, so he plans to take this project into the classrooms next. In Portsmouth, Rhode Island, I'm Chelsea Jones.
A young pastry chef in Brooklyn, New York is mixing her love for baking and a keen sense of business to create a unique virtual business. Keith Coons tells us this savvy businesswoman is inspiring others to pursue their dreams.
It's a taste of success, making life for Azarias Bellamy sweeter by the day. How did you know when it was just right?
When people were like, oh my God, can I have some more?
More blondies, that is. From her home in Brooklyn, New York, Bellamy launched her company, Blondery by Azarias, during the holiday season in 2017. Her recipe, 10 years in perfecting and taste testing at family gatherings over several years until it was just right.
It has a salted caramel ganache on top of a chocolate chip blondie, and then it has a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt and some toasted pecans. So it's very soft, it's crunchy, it's kind of gooey because of the caramel ganache, and it's perfectly balanced. I like to think it's perfectly balanced because it's sweet and it's salty.
Her success not really much of a surprise. Baking and business seemed to be in her DNA. She grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, where her family owned several barbecue restaurants.
It looked like they were having a lot of fun. So that's all I kind of knew for a long time was entrepreneurship and owning your own.
Her passion for baking took her to the prestigious Johnson & Wales University in Rhode Island, where many of the world's top chefs have perfected their craft, and then on to an internship at a top pastry school in France. Blondery by Azarias is the epitome of a 21st century business. No brick and mortar store for this pastry chef, with the vast majority of her sales coming online. And using social media to get the word out about her products is a big part of her success.
Today I'm going to show you the difference between a blondie and a brownie.
Azarias has her own YouTube channel where she dishes to followers about what it takes to run a business, along with baking tips and her latest sweet creations.
For a brownie or a blondie, you kind of want as less gluten as possible.
Another one of her priorities being a role model to other women and people of color who are looking to step out on their own in the culinary world.
Is to provide a safe space for people of color or people who are notoriously marginalized within the food industry to just create and be safe and make money doing so.
Making a difference and adding a touch of sweetness to life, one blondie at a time. In Brooklyn, New York, Keith Kuntz reporting.
Many know Cynthia Cint Marshall as the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, the woman hired to help turn around the culture within the organization. In doing so, she became the first black female CEO in the NBA. And being the first is nothing new for her. As Jenny Ann Chondo reports, she's been breaking barriers her entire life.
And so my mother always, I tell people, she put 2 books in my hand, a math book in one hand and a Bible in the other, and said, if you keep your head in these 2 books, you will get out. And growing up, I didn't know exactly what out meant, but later I realized it was out of poverty.
Since family left Birmingham, Alabama when she was 3 months old, an effort to escape the Jim Crow South. But life in the Bay Area of California in the projects wasn't easy.
When I was 11 years old, some chaos broke out in our family, and I saw my father actually shoot a man in the head. He had approached our house, and my father actually had to shoot back in self-defense because I was standing on my father's right side when this young man pulled out a pistol and pointed it down to my father's right side at me.
The man survived, but Cint never forgot it. She sought a way out and set her sights on leadership. At her sister's graduation, she noticed the only speakers were white boys.
And I was in the 9th grade, and I looked at my mom and I said, can a black girl be senior class president? She said, of course, you can do whatever you want to do. I said, can a black girl be student body president? She said, yes, because I'm looking at these 2 guys up there, and I'm in the 9th grade. And I said, okay, I got to get one of my buddies because when we graduate, we're going to do that. And so then I found out that hadn't ever happened before.
Cint became the first African-American president at her school.
It was historic. It got a little emotional there, and I think the teachers and the faculty, they were more emotional than probably I was, but it was historic, and I guess we've been blazing trails ever since then.
Cint was the first black cheerleader at Berkeley and the first African-American Delta Gamma at the college. Yet, even at almost 40 years old, she found herself not being accepted for who she was. When offered a position as an officer at AT&T, she initially turned it down. Her boss asked her to change everything from her hair to her verbiage.
When you fundamentally try to change who I am, when you tell me I can't say blessed, when you tell me I'm too nice to people, when you tell me I can't laugh, who matters? Black lives matter. When you tell me I'm too loud, we're having a problem here because you're actually telling me you don't want me to be the black woman.
AT&T did reverse course, and she took the job. Now, as CEO of the Mavs, tasked with transforming the culture, she's making sure nobody else experiences that.
If nothing else, I am proud of the speak-up culture that we have. Our people have a voice. The level doesn't matter. I had a one-on-one with every single person in the organization when I got there.
And for Black History Month, Cint says it's a time to be proud, but also realize there's more work to do.
We've got to embrace all cultures. And so February is the month that we've decided to kind of embrace the black culture and to learn more about it and to see where we are and do a little gap analysis and see what more has to be done. And so it's a time where the whole nation gets to do that.
She encourages every company, every family to take this month to learn about the significance of the contributions Black people have made to this country. In Dallas, Jenny Ann Chondo reporting.
From fast food worker to franchise owner. Next, you'll meet the youngest Black owner of a McDonald's in history. You're watching Honoring Black History. many young people take years to find their way in life, our travels while honoring Black history brought us to New Orleans. That's where we meet a young woman who's finding her passion in business. As LeBron Joseph shows us, she learned her craft from the ground up.
Do what I want 'cause I'm the one in control.
Force, tenacity, never give up.
Aggressive.
Passion.
Fashionable.
Those are a few words Joyce and Louis Colon used to describe their daughter, Jade Colon. But another word that fits is businesswoman. Jade had her first experience in business working with friends to open a Smoothie King franchise. And then
I went to college and I majored in accounting. Well, I knew, I'm like, this is not, this isn't what I want to do. The classes were really, really hard. I knew business just from working with Smoothie King. So I started working at the McDonald's on campus in college. And at that point in time, my dad was going through the program to become a registered applicant, to become an owner-operator himself.
Jade switched her major to business and graduated from the University of Louisiana. And that experience at the Golden Arches, well, it came in handy. Her parents did become owner-operators, and after college, Jade jumped right in.
As she became more successful at running the McDonald's restaurants that we owned, before we knew it, McDonald's corporate was asking us, has she ever considered becoming a McDonald's owner?
And that she did, becoming one of the youngest McDonald's franchisees in the world. In fact, it's a family business with 6 locations that Jade now runs.
Total employees, like all of the family restaurants?
About 250 employees altogether, yep.
It's a responsibility that Jade understands and takes seriously.
When you're in business, you are over people's livelihood, right? People are looking up to you for really everything, changing mindsets, being able to provide for their families.
As a young community leader, Jade also gives back and serves on local boards, including the Ronald McDonald House. But she also belongs to a generation that links online, and her Instagram page has over 20,000 followers.
I love my social media because I'm able to share that side as well as my personal side. I like to travel. I go out sometimes, so I still I'm able to connect with people on a personal level as well.
Jade Colon's success is no accident. It's the result of a lot of hard work, some good fortune, and a strong personality. But her mother says that as parents, they saw that initiative in their eldest child early on.
3 children, that's 3 different personalities. So Jade always took the lead on a lot of things.
In the end, Jade credits her parents in helping her succeed.
I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. I didn't grow up with this. I had to work for it, and that was my mom and my dad helped pushing me to drive me to be successful. I didn't do it by myself.
And those combined efforts are obviously paying off.
Thank you so much, sir. You have a great day. Come back and see us, okay? Thank you.
In New Orleans, LBJ reporting.
Andre Mack is one of only a few black winemakers, and he's seeking to revolutionize the industry. As Ken Bodie reports, Mack infuses his background in music and skate culture into his wines.
All these wines that are in this room, when you look around, they all tell someone's story. It tells a story about a place, about the people who made it. For me, it's always a legacy.
Andre Mack is living his legacy, creating wines for the masses and leading the way for African Americans in the wine industry.
It's not just an upper crust thing for you, is it?
No, not at all. I think everybody should enjoy wine, right? It's not reserved for just the elite. You know, I grew up on, hip hop, skateboarding, punk rock, and being able to put all those things and fuse them together makes it very enjoyable for me.
Andre Mack's New York State of Wine extends all the way across the country. Maison Noir wines are actually produced here in Oregon's Willamette Valley, one of America's premier winemaking regions. Mouton Noir, or Black Sheep wine, started in 2007. Now named Maison Noir, they are shipped to nearly every state and throughout the world, especially popular in Sweden and Southeast Asia. Near his home in Brooklyn, he owns a wine shop, a ham and charcuterie bar, and a bakery.
Where do you want to take this in the future? Do you have plans beyond what you're doing right now?
I'm just in a space of I want to build things and create stuff.
With a bottle of wine always nearby. Ken Bodie, Portland, Oregon.
That is it for our program, but we thank you for joining us for this 22 News special honoring Black history. If you missed any of today's stories, you can find them on our website, WWLP.com. Have a great day.